Hello, hello, here we go, it's the Kopite podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Kopite podcast. I'm Mick and I'm joined as usual by Jay. But we've got a very special guest on today. It's 1/3 of the Wombats. It's Dan Haggis. All right, Dan, how's it going?
Yeah, good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
How's London treating you? I know you're nice and far away from the Liverpool lockdown now. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty frustrating though, because obviously all my family are up in Liverpool really, so it's kind of gutting not to be able to get up there whenever I want and for them to come down here. So hopefully it won't last too long and, you know, things will go back to normal-ish sooner rather than later. Yeah,
I know. I hope so. I mean, it's difficult because I thought we were all getting back to a semblance of normality, and then next minute where I'm in Liverpool, it's just stuck in lockdown, so we're pretty much fucked. So yeah, it's no end in sight.
London will follow, no doubt, soon. You know, the numbers are just going to surely keep going up, I would imagine, and then it's going to happen all winter, isn't it? Like realistically, unless they do like some mad 3-week kind of full on, you know, back to lockdown and get numbers back right down. It's just going to keep doing this the whole time. They might loosen things up a bit and then down again. And so, yeah, as long as it's all right by Christmas, I think that's probably their mission, to make sure we can all like get back home and see people for Christmas. Otherwise, there's going to be some pretty unhappy people, aren't there? I mean, more unhappy than they already are.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with no one being able to go to the match as well now. Like, we're going to touch on how good Everton are doing, and it is quite sad that you aren't, Everton fans aren't like yourself, aren't allowed to go to Goodison and see how well you're doing. And,
I know.
And embrace it.
Yeah. No, it's a shame. Obviously, like the music industry and basically any live events are having a shocker at the moment, aren't they? I mean, I guess the only sort of silver lining in a way is that, you know, we get to watch some of the 3:00 games on a Saturday, at least from home, rather than going to the match. So for me as an Everton fan down in London, I don't get to go up to the match that often. So I have actually watched every game. So that's a positive. But obviously, like, you know, with the sound effects on the screen and all that, it's kind of, I don't mind actually when there's no crowd, you know, fake crowd, and you can hear the players all shouting at each other. It's kind of interesting to like pull that curtain back, isn't it, behind like how the team, who shouts the most and all the rest of it. Like, I quite like that. But yeah, no, it's such a shame because, as you say, Everton are doing really well and playing really good football. And it would just be so nice to be there in the ground and witness it, because you can't beat that atmosphere. It's the same as gigs, you know. Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I've watched a few online, you know, gigs and performances and stuff. And whilst it does kind of scratch the itch of live music, it doesn't hit you in the same way, does it? It's kind of, it's still nice, but it's just like same as football, being at the ground and getting goosebumps when your team scores and all those moments and like just the banter and everything surrounding it. It's kind of, it's so addictive, isn't it? And you just get goosebumps. Like I mean, don't get me wrong, I do jump up on the couch and shout and my girlfriend tells me to pipe down, but you know, it's just not quite the same, is it?
Yeah, I think because I'm a boring bastard and I like darts. I was watching the darts last night, and even that, it's like it's not the same. Like there's no one putting the players off. Like, especially I'm into boxing as well, and like boxing's like you can have a pin drop in the crowd, and it shouldn't be like that. And I think it does have an effect on what the outcome would be, and it would be interesting to see what these 4 games would have been like if we had actually fans in the stadiums. But we'll start anyway with, like you said, Everton doing really well. It pains me to say, 4 wins out of 4.
Yeah.
First time you've won your opening first 4 games since 1969/70, and you went on to win the league title. Did you ever expect that?
Good sign. I mean, this must be hard for you to get this out on a Liverpool podcast.
Yeah,
but you deserve it, mate. You deserve it.
Yeah. No, to be honest, like
a few times before when I was
as an Everton fan, like, obviously I've got so many friends who are Liverpool fans as well, and I like genuinely, I wanted you to win the league when Man City pipped you to it 2 years ago, like, and I was happy for you last year. Like, you know, I think it's great for the city when either club are doing well, and obviously, unfortunately, as an Everton fan, Liverpool have definitely had the lion's share of things over, like, well, in my lifetime anyway. So I don't know. I'm just absolutely made up that there's a lot of positivity, and, you know, like going into every game, like I always have hope. But this derby is definitely the first derby I've actually I shouldn't even be saying this because I'm going to jinx it, but it is the first time I like feel genuinely like hopeful, and especially after your 7-2 defeat last week. Like, what on earth happened there?
Yeah,
sorry, go on, Mike. Well, I was just about to say it was. I can't believe that happened. I do think it was a one-off for us. I don't think we'll see that again. I mean, maybe the players needed to kick up the arse for that. I don't know. We've not been at the races since we came back from the initial break, did we? I think everyone knew that the league was well and truly wrapped up, and we've not been at our best. But I think it's a one-off. But I agree with you, Dan. I am seriously. I'm worried when we go to Goodison anyway, because usually it's a tough place to go for us anyway. It's always a 0-0. You guys always up your game with it and everything.
Yeah.
But after the way you guys have been performing the last 4 games, it's going to be a massive derby. And again, one of the things I was saying to, again, one of my best friends is an Evertonian. I said, if we'd have beat Villa, it'd have put us on level points, and both Liverpool and Everton would have been 3 points clear of the rest of the pack.
Yeah.
And it would have been even better. And it's not happened in my lifetime. And like you said, it's great that that's happening for the city, but I can't wait for this derby. It's going to be incredible.
I know. I really do. I hope we win, obviously, with every inch of my body, but at the same time, I really hope it's a proper, Liverpool come back from that defeat and just, as you say, it's a kick up the arse, and they go right, we're having this, and they, point to prove, and they know that Everton are doing well and playing well at the moment, and they just go at us, and Everton same, and it's just an amazing game of football. That's all anyone wants to watch, isn't it? End to end. As long as Everton do finally get the victory that they maybe give us one in the last 10 years. We can give us that.
Yeah, I've just mentioned one stat there. I'll mention another. The last time Everton beat us in a fixture was the 17th of October 2010.
Yeah.
So it'll be exactly 10 days to the day that his last beat us in a 2. What that was it? It was a 2-0 win at Goodison.
10 years.
10
years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I really hope. It's going to be a good game.
As the way you've started surprised you a little bit. I know you've obviously got a great manager now, Ancelotti, and for me, you've made some great signings like James Rodriguez, who I didn't think would do as well, and he's proved me wrong so far. And you've got the likes of Decore and Allen, who I think the midfield's where you've always needed to strengthen. I mean, the last time he's had, back in 2010, he's had the likes of Arteta and Cahill, people in the midfield who are not going to take any shit. They're going to good on the ball, good creatively, but also good defensively. And I think with Decore, Allen and Rodriguez, you've now finally got some steel in there as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, last year it was kind of, obviously Ancelotti came in and there's this big positive feeling wow, a manager of his calibre kind of coming into the team, and what's he going to do? And obviously, I felt like there was that honeymoon period to start with where things were looking better. And then with lockdown and everything, the last kind of, I don't know, I can't remember exactly, but 4 or 5 games of the season, things really didn't look that great. It was quite lackluster, and, it felt like everyone was just we're just going to finish mid-table. That's the end of, they just, I don't know why they weren't fighting that much, but the start of this season, as you say, Rodriguez just got that little touch of class and that vision that I don't think really, we didn't have that playmaker on the field, in the same way that Rodriguez has that kind of every single game, every 10 or 15 minutes, I feel like there's a little touch or a little ball or something he does. You just go whoa, one of those players that makes you kind of excited to watch. What's he going to do now? And Allen actually has been one of my favourites, signings. He, when you just watch him, he just doesn't stop the whole game. The amount of balls he wins back for us, he just marshals that just in front of the defence, and then he fights for everything and he breaks up the play so well. He's such a key person. I suppose a kind of Roy Keane, someone on your team that's just going to get stuck in and stop everything for the other team. He must be a nightmare to play against because he reads the game really well, and he works his arse off. I don't actually know if he's fit for this Saturday though. Is he? Do you know if he's back?
Not sure.
I heard, but to be honest, Decore's similar, absolutely brilliant, strong, fast, reads the game really well, gets stuck in. So all 3 of them have been brilliant. And the effect that they've had on all the other players, obviously Calvert-Lewin has just, it's hang on a minute, what? He's always, I've always thought he was kind of good, but obviously it seems maybe it's a service thing, or maybe they've just all been because of the new players, maybe that adds a kind of impetus on the team to fight harder, or they're just clicking. same in music. Like, I'll have to do a parallel as a musician, but sometimes you play with other musicians who can be really good musicians, and it doesn't necessarily click for whatever reason. It's kind of, it works fine, but you know, it doesn't really, like, you don't have that spark. And then you could play with someone for whatever reason, and there's just a chemistry between you, and it's like, whoa. I suppose like meeting a girl, or, you know, anything in life, like there are those unexplained moments, and hopefully Everton are just having one of those things where the players all of a sudden have just gone like, right. You know, and watching them play, you can tell they instinctively know where they're all meant to be, and there is this kind of harmony in the team that I haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, I think you've just hit the nail on the head there, mate. I think with the signings that you guys made, it was, I mean, I know that the banter was flowing over the transfers and stuff like it had been in previous years when the whole Everton had won the transfer window thing, and it was, don't get me wrong, they made a lot of signings, but obviously they didn't work out, and I'm sure a lot of us thought that these signings might not work out. I mean, Allen's been the best. Allen's been the best Allen to play on Merseyside since Joe Allen. That's one thing. I'm joking. No, he's been phenomenal. But the one that surprised me most was James Rodriguez, because we all knew he was a quality player. And you said to me, Mick, didn't you? Like at the time, we both had the conversation that we didn't think he'd do very well. But Mick, from our perspective, he's been brilliant, hasn't he?
Yeah, and what gets me right is when you watch Match of the Day, they put up these stats, which is literally a load of shit, because they put, like, even as a Liverpool fan, I can say this, James Rodriguez and how many sprints he's done in the last 4 games, and it's like 2, 1, 0, 3. It's like, well, if, like Dan said, if you've got that creative ability in the final third, the sprints don't even matter. It's that creative and genius in those pockets of space that open up and create goals. Like, there was one, I can't remember what game it was, but it was off a corner, and he was on the edge, and he played a right-footed ball into Seamus Coleman, and he scored off it. And it's like, no other player in their last 10 years would pick that pass out in a million years. And it's having that creative ability in those little pockets, like I said, that creates goals and creates wins, and that's what he's been doing. So
yeah, exactly. Long may it continue.
Yeah, definitely. Well, like you said, Mick, you know, you don't have to be ultra fast if you're going to be a playmaker. I mean, Xabi Alonso wasn't the fastest, but my God, he could find a pass, couldn't he? And he was fantastic. But I mean, Dan, you touched on before about Calvert-Lewin, and I'm really pleased for him. Don't get me wrong. I think the lift from the club and Ancelotti, what he's done since he's come in, has been brilliant. And like you said, having that supply line behind him now has really given him a new lease of life, and he's obviously proved it with Everton. He's just done it for England recently, and it must be pleasing knowing that you've got that type of front man. Yeah,
I think the first time that I really started thinking like, oh, he could be the striker that he's turning into now was when Big Dunk took over for, back in December or whenever it was, for a couple of games. And like, you could tell then that he had that relationship with Calvert-Lewin, and, reading about it, he's obviously Big Dunk. You can tell from his like aerial ability now that he's been learning from him, and they've been training and pushing hard and stuff. And I feel like that's been a really good thing. And then, to be honest, also just like the work ethic and having someone like Ancelotti like believe in you, it must do wonders for your confidence, mustn't it? Which, as a striker, confidence is one of the main things you need. So, in a way, it's like if you don't start scoring goals and get the confidence, then you can't keep scoring goals. So maybe that's always been his thing, where he's never really got into that kind of flow of just scoring like he is now. So with any luck, he'll just be able to play. I mean, the goal he scored the other day, that long ball from Keane came over, and the touch and finish, like, was it against West Ham in the cup or so? I can't remember which game it was. It was unbelievable. I was like, I never thought he'd be the player to score that kind of goal. It was, like proper flair kind of goal. And it was more like a Mane kind of goal, or Salah, like you guys going forward when you battered us last year. And it was just like, these long balls that were just inch perfect. And then it would just drop, and somehow that, Mane or whoever would control it and like slot it in. You're just like, we don't have that kind of player or the vision to do it. And then all of a sudden Keane's doing balls like that for Calvert-Lewin, who's making the runs because he's getting more service. So yeah, it's really, really positive.
That's and the more goals he scores, the more confidence he gets. Like you said, it's like a circle. He'll get more and more confidence. I think people forget he's still only 23. Like I've got loads of Everton mates, Everton fan mates, and it's when I've spoke to them over the years, like how they feel about Calvert-Lewin, it's always been the same. Like he doesn't score enough.
Yeah,
like he's got that work ethic, like similar to like a Dirk Cow for us in a way. Like he'd score now and again, like big goals, but he didn't get in the box often enough and get those goals. But he's got 6 in 4 now, which when you think he's now in the England squad, he scored for England last week, I think, as well.
Yeah.
It's looking very good for you, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. But I mean, saying all this, we'll probably get absolutely trounced by you on Saturday. But anyway,
so.
Yeah. Oh, not again. Oh God.
Yeah. Well,
so, I tell you what, there's been pretty much one-way traffic with my Liverpool mates on like any WhatsApps. Like over the years, it's always just you can't come back with anything basically with you guys.
It's hard, mate. I mean, we can always remember the games where we get beat by Everton, where it's like the Andy Johnson one where Reina just was throwing the ball here, there, and everywhere. That was a bad game, and like I said, the one that happened 10 years ago. Dan Gosling's always a bad memory for me.
Oh yeah,
in the FA Cup in 2009. I think we played Everton 3 times in like the space of 2 weeks or something like that, and Dan Gosling beating us in extra time in the FA Cup. I didn't like that either. And then there's been a couple of others. And yeah. I mean, I meant we spoke to Sander Westerveld, didn't we, Mick, a couple of weeks back?
Nice.
And he was talking about his derby memories, about the fight he had with
Jeffers.
Yeah, and that was the last time Everton got the win at Anfield. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, mate, if you're going to beat us, I'd rather you beat us at Goodison than beat us at Anfield anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Well, we touched on, Dan touched on trouncing. We got trounced in our last game, 7-2, to Aston Villa at Villa Park. What did you make of that result, Dan?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to... Well, so because there are rare moments when Liverpool do, suffer a defeat like that, especially in the last few seasons, and we beat Brighton like 4-2 as well, so I'd watch that, and then when Liverpool lost that same weekend, and I think didn't Man U get battered 6-1 as well?
Yeah.
So for me, it was just an absolutely perfect weekend. I'm not gonna lie, and I was just I like watched Match of the Day and sat up on my own, just like heaven. I was like, I'm gonna remember this weekend, like, and I'm sure Liverpool will win the league again. Like whatever, you're a great team, like, but I'm gonna take this one. And
yeah, you got to.
On a football side, though, like I feel like Villa were really good.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, I only watched the highlights, so I didn't see the ins and outs of like how Liverpool played over the full 90 minutes. But you looked a little bit maybe defensively. Things obviously weren't quite clicking. You're a bit all over the place, and Aston Villa obviously just like were really clinical in the finishing, and they seemed like they could open you up on every counter, really.
That's exactly what happened. We didn't click, did we, Mick? At all. I mean, I don't want to go over it anymore, Mick. I can't take it anymore.
I think it's like Dan said when you liken it to musicians, where if it doesn't quite click. I think Liverpool's team is so specific and so unique, and Klopp's system's so unique. When one of them's missing, it has quite a profound effect on the rest of the system. So when we miss Alisson, we have Adrian in goal. It causes like a domino effect. So the defence then suffered. They're trying to play the same system that they would with Alisson in goal, who's one of the best sweeper keepers in the world. They've got Adrian in there, who's absolutely shite at it. So they're still playing the high line, and we were just, like you said, we were getting. If you didn't watch the full 90, you didn't miss much. We were getting battered pretty much for the whole of it. We scored 2 because Salah's a genius, but pretty much it was them just long balls over the top, and they played us at our game that we've beat loads of teams over the years under Klopp, the exact same way.
And do you think they should he have adapted more, like quickly? Should Klopp have changed, or did he try and change things up to stop that happening, or no? Not
really. That's what surprised me, because I think at half time it was 4-1. We had Henderson on the bench. Gomez was having an absolute shocker. I was like, well, he's going to bring Gomez off and put Henderson on, and put Fabinho centre-back and put Henderson in and try and shore it up, maybe grab an early goal, make it 4-2, and then go from there.
Yeah.
But he never, and we just carried on as normal, and it was just normal. It was the exact same it was like a vicious circle the whole game. It was like we would keep it. The high line was kept and remained. We knew we had Adrian in goal, who's not going to rush out at the same speed Alisson does. And then we did concede 3 deflected goals, which is, I think, I checked the stats, we conceded 1 deflected goal last season in the whole of the season. So to concede 3 in one game, it was just one of them games where stars aligned. They had all the luck that was available. They had it. They took it. They played really well. We played shit, and it was just like, it's just one for the record books, that I think.
Yeah. Also, every team has a, you know, and every band or whatever, like, you know, you have off days, don't you? Or when you go to work, whatever job you do, you have some days where you just can't, for some reason, your synapses aren't quite firing in the right way, and you're like, oh. So you never know. Maybe they were all a little bit off, and as you say, the stars aligned, and like, I mean, to have 3 deflected goals in one game is just like, that's unheard of, isn't it?
That's it. You're getting no luck there whatsoever, are you, with that? But anyway, Mick, can we stop talking about Villa now? I can't.
This is great.
I had to go to Birmingham the other day, and I was like, oh, I don't even want to go anywhere near the place.
I'm trying to be nice to Dan because he's our guest. I'm trying to make him feel welcome and like feel confident.
Give me something to laugh about. It's great. There hasn't been much for the last 10 years, so
this is true. But in terms of how the game's going to go, then the weekend, mate, do you reckon Ancelotti will just play his own game? Do you reckon he'll think, right, well, Liverpool are going to be hurting, they're going to have to come at us, so we might have to be, you know, hold ourselves back a bit, or do you think, you know, do you know what? No, we're Everton. You're coming to Goodison. You try and play us off the park.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to think that. I mean, considering Klopp didn't change halfway through in the last game, I would imagine he's going to be like, well, I've got a system that works and it's going to work this time. Maybe Ancelotti's going to be like, right, well, I saw what Villa did, so maybe I'll start trying to, you know, with Rodriguez, with through balls and stuff, maybe we'll try and catch them out and be constantly looking for that, you know, your high line or whatever, and getting clever balls through and see if he can split the defence and stuff. But I don't know. I think Klopp's too good a manager to like let that same thing happen as happened last week. So I don't know. It's going to be a great game because they're two great managers. They will have studied each other, won't they? Like, you know, they will have been poring over footage over the last few games and stuff and figuring out what to do. So I would guess Everton seem to have a system that's working. So I can't imagine he would suddenly change that, you know, when they're obviously clicking in that way. So I would hope they just do what they've been doing and trust, you know, rely on the fact that they're in a good place at the moment and just try and capitalize on it. And don't, because if he suddenly tries to like overthink it, there might be a worry that the players themselves start overthinking it and not just, you know, letting it flow. And I think that's been one of the great things with how Everton have been playing. It really has been like fluid, flowing football. And I'd like to see them, just do what they've been doing.
Yeah, and I think.
But what the fuck do I know? Like, I play the drums.
What do any of us know?
No, like you touched on the Brighton game, you conceded 2, and like you said, you only caught the match that they highlighted the Liverpool game. I only caught the match that they highlighted the Everton game, and there's quite a few chances where Brighton could have got in and could have scored a few more. And for me, the weak point is always Jordan Pickford, and I mean he's still England's number 1, but. If that was me, I compare him to Adrian at the minute. Like, he's just, you can't trust him at all. Can you? How do you feel about Jordan Pickford?
So I'm not fully in a kind of like, oh, he's awful. Like, I've got some Everton, obviously friends who they're like, oh no, he's so dodgy, blah blah blah. But I feel like as a shot stopper in general, I think as a natural, like his natural ability as a keeper, I feel like he's got amazing reflexes. He's fearless. He gets stuck in, but the worrying thing is there have been quite a few moments where, like, as you say, one of the Brighton goals, like, pretty simple. I mean, I'm not a goalkeeper, so when I say simple, this is for professionals who do it all the time, but pretty simple kind of catch. And he obviously, like, took his eye off the ball or didn't, you know, lost concentration, and then there goes a goal. Now, if we do that against Liverpool, all it takes is one mistake from Pickford for that to happen. And obviously, unfortunately, being the keeper, those one mistakes, like a midfielder can make loads of mistakes, really, because... you know, in general, they're going to get another shot at it. But as a keeper, you do one mistake and everyone's going to lambast you. So, I don't know. I think we bought a keeper on transfer day. Was it Olsen? Was it?
Yeah.
So hope, you know, I think that's a good thing as well. Like, competition for places, hopefully, like, makes makes all the players better and makes them like fight harder. So I don't know. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of the passing around at the back moments that I get really nervy about, because sometimes his decision making is just like, well, I don't know whether it's, I mean, I guess it's kind of in the spur of the moment. I feel like making that snap decision of like, right, there's a player running towards me. I either pass it to that guy who's also getting a player running towards him, or I just lob it upfield to someone and hope for the best. I think sometimes he sticks too much to the tactic, which is play from the back, and doesn't think like, nah, I need to just hoof it up now. And there are those moments where the old style long ball up, at least you might hit your player, you might get a ball that goes through or put pressure on the defence. Don't put yourself under unnecessary pressure, and especially in the first 10 minutes, I feel like he does that quite a lot, which that definitely gets me a bit nervy. So yeah, let's hope for a flawless Pickford performance.
Yeah, like I said, I related to Adrian in that Villa game. I'm sorry to go back on it, Jay, but first goal was absolutely horrendous that he passes it too far, Gomez's stretch, and they score. And I always related to that. It's when you've got when Alisson came in for us, he had a few errors. There was one against Leicester away where he pretty much got tackled inside the box and they scored. And since then, we've with him in goal, we've gone on from strength to strength pretty much. Pretty much because we trust him, and it's getting that. And I know what you're saying. With Pickford, he's pretty sticking too much to the tactics, but he's probably trying to do it so it becomes second nature. But I think because of the form that he's in, he needs to just lump it. And it's the same with Adrian. When the ball goes towards him, I want him to hit it as hard as he can and not even try and pass it out. And that's the thing. I think, it is that it's that decision making moment of going do you want to make it look all fancy? And when it works, it's amazing. There were a few moves against Brighton where, yes, he made that mistake, but there were another couple where they did a few really cool triangle passes to get it out, and it was just, it looks amazing. When you pull it off, it's you just carve up their attack and off you go. And they've obviously got too many men forward, and then you've got loads more space to get in. So I totally understand why they do it, but it's those moments when it doesn't. It's just don't risk it. But yeah,
we shall see. We shall see.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think,
wait, is Adrian starting for you guys then on Saturday?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I will.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Nice.
It's all felt less of the deflections this week.
Is Adrian a really good shot stopper though?
I think every poor keeper that gets complimented is always a good shot stopper out there. That's most what people can say. But
remember that with David James as well. He was a really good shot stopper, but when there was a corner, I remember going to the Everton match and it was literally just yes, there's a corner and James is in goal. Here we go.
Yeah, that's why we've since we've got Alisson, we've just been absolutely made up, because we've had, like you said, David James, fucking Butterfingers, we've had Jetty Dudek, just absolute keepers who Dudek, fair enough, pretty much won us the European Cup in 2005, but pretty much anything else.
Yeah.
I didn't rate him very highly, and we've had too many shotters, so I think that's why we love Alisson as much as we do. But we'll move on a little bit down to you and the Wombats, we touched on before we started recording. When will we see some more Wombats music?
So actually on Friday we've got we'd made a song before lockdown, sorry, and we didn't know what to do with it, and our manager sent it to this guy called Weethan in America, who's electronic kind of DJ, and he turned the song into a sort of electronic, an EDM sounding kind of song. So it's more kind of Weethan featuring the Wombats. So that's the next release we've got, called Clouds. And then after that, we're starting recording our 5th album at the end of October in 2 weeks. So yeah, just practicing for that at the moment. Unfortunately, on my own in the studio most of the time, for the time being. But we are, hopefully, Todd's going to get over from Norway. So we'll have me and him in the studio, and then Murph will be in LA. And then the plan is to release the album mid next year. It's first song up maybe February, March time. So yeah, no, it's to be honest, this whole lockdown and everything, it's been a good time for the creative side and writing music and stuff, obviously, because there's no gigs. So that side of things been great. But the worry is that next year, I mean, obviously the worry for so many bands at the moment is there are no gigs, and for bands who've like either just released an album or are about to, it definitely makes you think like, well, should we put it off to next year and see what happens? And I mean, I think our plan is just to like put it out regardless, because you know, we could be dealing with this for, well, who knows how long. So there's no point waiting and waiting and waiting. Like, we want to get the music out there, and I think there's, you know, people are sat at home and they want to listen to new music and stuff, and we want to get the music out, and like there's no point it sitting on our hard drives gathering cyber dust. So yeah. But hopefully live music's going to come back, because like another summer without any festivals is going to be pretty miserable.
Yeah, and I was just touch on there, like obviously the festivals. Like I went with Kate last year to see it at Leeds Fest, which was just unbelievable. I loved it. And it's like, are you worried about like the music industry in general, like with this whole thing and not being able to go, like I said, go to live gigs and stuff?
Yeah, massively. I mean, we're like, in a way, the musicians, or like if you're in a band and you're signed and stuff, like you're kind of the lucky ones, because we can still make music and stuff, and you know, you get, obviously there's like some royalties and there's a little bit of income coming in from other places, whereas like the worst thing is for all the venues, all the crew, like the technicians and everything, and then all the supply chains around that. So like obviously you know, the PA companies and like all the people that they employ at their warehouses, like there's just such an infrastructure around music that I don't think like people really ever think about, to be honest. You know, you go to a festival or a gig and you just like, you think there's the band, and you don't really think about like what you know, all the people on stage making it happen, and they stay there till like 2 a.m, taking everything down, packing up the truck, driving to the next, you know, everything's like runs like clockwork, and everyone's like really highly skilled, like trained people who've been doing this for years, and all of a sudden they're just kind of like, right, what's happening here? And so I feel really bad for them. I mean, I feel bad for everyone, like, you know, young bands out there who aren't getting a chance to play live and learn their craft and get those experiences, and like but every industry's got its problems, like obviously football and, you know, hospitality, like you name it. I think so many people are in the same boat, which is one of the only things that's like makes it a little bit easier in a way, because you've got so many people who are around you going through the same sort of thing, who can relate to what you're going through. So, but you know, healthy and all the rest of it. So I suppose like shouldn't really complain about anything, but it's just a shame when like obviously like the culture in general has always been fairly low down on the list of priorities, especially for Tory governments. But you know, just in general, like it's in schools, you know, it's like music and art and even sports, you know, it's like it's always pretty low down, isn't it? It's like an afterthought really, when I would argue that those things are actually just as important as learning like maths and history and all those other subjects, like and so I wish there was more focus there, and I wish there was more focus from the government of how, like, do they have a concrete plan, like how do we get like football grounds full again? How do we get festivals and gigs back up and running, and safely, obviously, but like how there must be a way to do that by next year, because otherwise, I mean, music industry wise, I don't know what's going to happen, because so many people will move on to other jobs, or they'll just be like, that, you know, there'll be young bands who'll just have to stop playing, and you know, and festivals will go under, so there'll be fewer festivals to play. But I don't know, it's a worrying time. It
is, mate.
Genuinely is.
My brother-in-law, he's a very, very talented musician, and for the last 3 or 4 years, that's how he's made his living, just by playing, you know, Thursday to Monday every week. And he's so talented at what he does, and I hope one day he gets a break, because recently he's just had to announce that he's going to stop gigging for the foreseeable because of what's been going on. And I feel so broken for him, because he's now got to get a different job altogether, one he's not going to be happy doing. He's not going to be able to pick up his guitar, and you know, I'm with you, mate. I just hope we get live music back as soon as possible, because the world needs it for a start. You know, I love going to Download Festival. It needs to, you know, stuff like that needs to carry on, and you know, my brother-in-law to have his job back, and the world needs music, and hopefully that it gets taken seriously, because we need the arts.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, but we'll finish up, Dan. With we'll go back to footy. We won't talk about Villa, Jay. Don't worry. We'll go with score predictions for Saturday. I'll go with you first, Jay.
Oh, if I say 0-0, what am I going to get for that? That's what it's been like at Goodison for the last few years. I'm going to go for a score draw, though. I just think we are going to be chomping at the bit to get a win after the embarrassing defeat to Villa the other week, and Everton are flying at the minute, mate. So I'm going to go with a 2-2. I just think both teams are capable of scoring goals, so I'm going for 2-2.
I reckon that's a pretty good prediction. You know, when you started saying that, I was like, yeah, I can imagine that. Like, but I'm going to say it's 2-2 till about 85 minutes, and then Rodriguez literally outside the box. Just looks up, sees the top bin, and just goes whooping. 3-2. See you later.
Oh, like Jaggy Elton a few years back.
Yeah, Jaggy. That was what a goal that was.
That was fucking
we
unbelievable.
did, to be fair, in that game, I feel like I remember we didn't really deserve to get a point out of it either.
Yeah. But
what a goal that was! I mean,
it was. What's your best? What's your best derby memories, Dan?
This is funnily actually the one that comes into my mind. Do you remember the 3-3? Like, was it 6 years ago? I was in an Irish pub in Paris.
Oh, it was the Mick. Do you remember we equalised from a Daniel Sturridge header? It was a glancing header.
Oh, the Sturridge one.
Yeah, so Suarez had scored a free kick at one end. Yeah, oh my God. Do you know what it was, Dan? Because that was the 13-14 season where we nearly won the league. I don't know why that's gone out my mind. Maybe because I just don't want to remember that year.
So it was 6 years ago, was it? Yeah, that makes sense.
God, yeah.
And I ended up I was in this like because I used to go and I lived in Paris for a while, and I used to go and watch the game in this like Scottish pub. And for some reason, I don't know whether it was under repair or what was going on, but it wasn't open. And I was like, no, this is where I always go. And I'd even met like a couple of guys from Liverpool who lived in Paris, and we'd go like we're Everton fans. And so I went to this other pub, met one of them there because he'd obviously had the same problem. And then there were a couple of other like Liverpool fans, Everton fans along this bar, and we just started drinking. I think it was a 12:30 game, and just started drinking Guinness and watching it, and it was so much fun. Like, yeah.
You know what? I was the exact same when you said 3-3. I was like, when was that? I was trying to think, and then I've just checked now. It was 2013, and I remember the Sturridge like the equaliser, like last minute. It was like a flicked on header, wasn't it?
Yeah,
because I remember going absolutely fucking mental. But
there you go. So yeah, that was the one, but probably just because I was in Paris as well, and like missing home probably. So those ones stand out.
Yeah, the one for me, worst one for me was the fucking Andy Johnson 3-0 win. I think it was 2006, where he scores twice, and I can't remember who scored the one, but it was just like that was just the absolute killer for me. Where I think Pepe Reina had an absolute shocker and tried to like take Andy Johnson's head off with his hands, and he scored. And I was just like, that was, and it's mad to think that was 14 years ago. Like that's absolutely crazy. Like I was 17 now. That's like, it just feels like a world away to me. That
amazing.
And the good thing about derbies is they're always memorable. For whether even if it's a 0-0, there's always a memorable moment at the end of the day with every derby, isn't there? And no doubt that this one, with the way Liverpool are playing, the way Everton are playing, a new lease of life, it's going to be one hell of a derby on Sunday.
It's going to be so good.
Saturday. Yeah.
I think also, given the fact that Liverpool has just gone into like the a stricter lockdown, there's going to be like for all the fans watching on both sides, like the city's going to be absolutely like the tension in the air, like it's going to be buzzing, isn't it?
Very good point, mate. Very good point.
Yeah, I didn't give my prediction. I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool, by the way.
Oh shit! Sorry, mate. Sorry, we did ask. Go on then. Who's going to score then, Mick?
I don't remember the last time I predicted a clean sheet for Liverpool, even when Alisson was in goal, which is quite worrying, really. But especially with Adrian in goal, it wouldn't even surprise me if Everton scored first. And I just hope we don't absolutely capitulate like the other week against Villa, and we come back and
Stop saying Villa.
Do you feel like home teams have the same advantage anymore though without the fans in the stadium?
Nah.
I'd be interested to see at the end of the year whether there is like whether the statistic shows that home advantage is pretty much gone.
Good shout, that mate. It's a good shout.
I think it has, because I've always worried about going to Goodison, even if we've been quite good there over the years, getting draws and wins. But it doesn't matter. Even if we played you and we played 30 games and won all 30, and we went to Goodison on the 31st game, I'd still be worried that we'd get beat. It's just ingrained in me to like always be worried. But with the no fans there, it makes me feel better anyway, that we've got more of a chance of getting a result. And I think wasn't the first game back after like the brief hiatus that we played, you was at Goodison, and it was like the most boring 0-0, but you could have won it. And I think it might be more of the same on Saturday, but I hope not.
No, I hope not. I don't think so.
No. Well, we'll soon find out anyway. But Dan, listen, mate, it's been absolutely a pleasure having you on, mate. It's been brilliant. Hopefully, if you've got the time, we'd love to do the review show after the derby. If you've got, get you back on.
Oh yeah, are we putting a fiver on the score prediction as well? Come back and see who got it.
I'm up for that. I'll chuck in for you then, Mick. I'll chuck in for you.
I'm skinned and I'm always wrong, so.
All right, a quiz. All right, we'll just
bet.
Sportsman's bet.
So, Dan, again, thank you very much, mate, for
thanks for having me
on the show, mate. We really appreciate it, and obviously you're welcome anytime, whether it's Liverpool or playing Everton or not, mate. Anytime, and appreciate you sharing the information about Wombat stuff. I know loads of people are excited about the upcoming stuff. And mate, a huge congratulations to you and the boys for everything that you've done since you started in 2003. I know it's been a long slog, mate, but you're a testament to when people should stick to the dreams, mate. So fair play to you.
Yeah.
Oh, cheers, man. Thanks.
That is us on the Kopite podcast. Again, give us a like, subscribe, and leave us a comment on how much you like the video and how much you want to see Dan back on the show as well. And we'll be back. We'll be back in the next episode to review, hopefully, a very entertaining derby. Mick, what do we say? See you next time, is it?
See you next time, yeah.